Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and today we're just going to be chilling out at Tier 5 and watching a little bit of a double act, starring Warlock of Void in the T-67 Tier 5 tank destroyer, and Glitchy Umbreon in the AMX ELC. Glitchy is not really going to be getting an awful lot of use out of the ELC's 90mm gun during the course of this battle. He's going to be rushing forward, finding himself a nice bush, and basically farming all of the spotting damage, which Warlock and the T-67 and the rest of the team are going to be only too happy to take advantage of. It's an encounter battle here on Malinovka, so you're probably already guessing exactly which bush Glitchy is heading for, except this is Tier 5, not Tier 10. He's in an ELC, not an AMX 13105. He only has a 360 meter view range. And while that bush might be a decent spot for a Tier 10 light tank to occupy, down here at Tier 5 it's a great spot for Warlock in the T-67, but Glitchy is moving up to this bush, engaging the parking brake, lighting up half of the enemy team as they struggle to make the top of the hill, and then settling down with a nice hot beverage of choice and just counting all of that lovely spotting damage as it comes rolling in. Switching to Warlock's perspective in the T-67, you're going to see just how effective Glitchy's spotting is from that forward position in the middle of the plateau over there. Now the danger here is that sometimes the spotting can actually be too good. I mean, that's at least half of the enemy team spotted. And what can happen is that the rest of your team go, oh look, enemy tanks, and they all stop to shoot at them. Now this is normally a good thing. You want to shoot at the enemy tanks. It's what World of Tanks is all about. Let's just switch back to Glitchy in the ELC and see how that spotting damage is coming along. Yeah, 1400 spotting damage. I mean, don't expect astronomical numbers, this is only Tier 5 after all. But 1400 isn't bad, although it did look like he was starting to run out of available targets spotted from that position for people to shoot at. But it was nice to see that so far at least the team have managed to avoid falling into one of the traps that you can have, particularly here on Malinovka. It's an infamous map for it, when the spotting is too effective. What do you mean by that, Jingles? Well, I'll explain, but you've probably already guessed, particularly since we're here on Malinovka, which is quite infamous for it. Usually it's down to one of the light tanks who've decided they don't like the matchmaking, and they just suicide rush across the field at the very beginning of the game, lighting up half the enemy team in the process, at which point, of course, your team all stop what they were doing, turn around and start shooting. Isn't that a good thing? I mean, that's what you're supposed to do in World of Tanks, right? Shoot the enemy tanks? Well, yeah, but try not to do it at the expense of, winning the game. Because what often happens when somebody does do a suicide rush across the middle of the field at the start of the match is that some of the enemy tanks decide to dig in and return fire, therefore giving the two-thirds of your team who have stopped in the starting zone something else to continue shooting at. Meanwhile, the rest of the enemy tanks have carried on moving up around the central plateau here, further north up to the top of the hill, and suddenly your team find themselves outflanked and getting shot at from two different directions. Speaking of spotting, let's go back and see what Glitchy's been getting up to, since he'd clearly run out of targets for the rest of his team to shoot at from that initial position. This is going to be the first time in this match he's even fired his gun. And he missed. Still, 1500 spotting damage, nothing to be ashamed of. It's at more or less this point where he's now run out of targets and he's going to have to move forward and take a more active role in spotting. And this is now only the second time he's fired his gun, and this time he actually hit something. Let's head back to Warlock's T67 and see what he's made of all of this. There's the M7 behind the rock that Glitchy spotted. He appears to have completely given up. I'm not saying it's excusable, but given the odds against him, entirely understandable. And that was Warlock's fourth kill. Not too bad. But then again, this is a T67. It is a very, very good machine, particularly when it's top tier, as it is here. Glitchy moving on ahead, sniffing out fresh targets, and Warlock pretty much doing exactly as he's done the entire game, just following Glitchy's ELC at a safe distance, shooting from concealment, and racking up the damage and the kills. It may not be sexy, it may not be spectacular, but if you've got a good scout working for you, and he does, it's very effective. T-34 spotted, the last enemy tank. Oh, he hasn't entirely given up, but, well, doesn't really make much difference. In less than 4 minutes, the entire enemy team has been wiped out. But it wasn't a perfect victory. The team have lost a tank. An M5 Stuart has come to a sticky end. How on earth did that happen? Well, it wasn't due to anything that the enemy team did. Let's go back and take a look. And there he is, on top of the hill. Now, he's about as far away from the remaining enemy tanks as it's possible to be and still be on the same map, so he clearly didn't die to any kind of enemy fire. But if you didn't catch it from the battle messages during the course of the actual replay, there are a couple of clues that can help you figure out what happened to him and why. First, his name is Bot12138, and secondly, he's on top of the cliff. Yep, just when it looks as if your team is about to achieve a flawless victory in less than 4 minutes, there's always somebody on the team who just has to go and do something stupid. But now, the results. And there are probably a few things here that aren't going to surprise you too much, and hopefully at least one thing that is. Because this was certainly not a spectacular game for Warlock here in the T67, despite the fact that he got a high caliber and did by far the most damage of anybody else on his team. It was only a second-class mastery badge. It's also possibly not too surprising that Glitchy also only earned the second-class mastery badge despite collecting the Scout and Patrol duty medals and coming comfortably top of the team on experience earned, despite the fact that only fired 2 shots the entire game and only one of those hit and did damage. Now, the real giveaway to just exactly how effective Glitchy Umbreon's spotting wasn't the 2,311 spotting damage that he did, it wasn't the 725 base experience that he earned. It was the amount of damage that the enemy team did. 326 between all 15 of them. Or, to put it another way, as close to nothing as makes no difference. And that is not something I can remember seeing too often before. So, Glitchy Umbreon, spectacularly well done there. Warlock of Void, also well played, but Glitchy, it's not often I've seen somebody spot so well. And the team takes such good advantage of it that the enemy team basically have nothing to shoot at for the entire match. Well played. It's a shame that you didn't do any better than the second-class mastery badge, but hey, I guess that's just how good the AMX ELC is. Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.